Stop being friends with your employees. Your employees don't want to be your friend. They just want money. So help them make more money by having them help you make more money. This is a reminder that if your business isn't at the next level, it's because you as an entrepreneur are working too much inside of your business, and you need to hire somebody to do the stuff that you're doing today and tomorrow and the stuff you did yesterday, so you can focus on the stuff you're doing next year. Entrepreneurs, if you are scaling your company, here are my top 3 places to live and work as an entrepreneur. Number 3 is going to be Bali, Indonesia. The cost of living is 80 to 97% less the cost of living in Western countries. Number 2 is going to be Mexico, specifically Isla Mujeres, Playa del Carmen, and Mexico City. The cost will be 40 to 70% less the cost of living in Western countries. And my number 1 pick is Medellin, Colombia. It's about 80 to 95% less the cost of living in Western countries, and the weather is phenomenal. Think of your business as a residential property. If you want to get more money from the marketplace for your residential property, you got to add upgrades. Maybe it's a new kitchen, maybe it's a new bathroom, maybe it's new flooring, maybe it's a new air conditioning system, maybe it's a new foundation. Whatever that is, you have to add value to your property. Now, think of your business the same exact way. If your business was a house, what value adds could you do? So could you add a new training program? Could you add a new client acquisition system? Could you add new leaders inside of your team? Could you add more services, more products? Could you remove products or services? Whatever you do in your business, your job as a visionary entrepreneur is to add value to your company. Here's a quick hack on how to avoid meetings with your team as an entrepreneur. If your team is requesting a meeting with you, number 1, ask them to email you about the issue. Number 2, if a meeting is required, ask them to send you an agenda with supporting documents, or maybe even a short 60 to 90-second video about the issue. And number 3, when they do that, you'll probably find a solution and say, hey, here's a solution, leave me alone. You do not need to go to meetings, because when you go to meetings, you don't just waste your time, you waste everybody's time involved. If you meet with 10 people and the meeting is 30 minutes, well, that's not a 30-minute meeting, that's a 300-minute meeting. That's a long time, that's a lot of resources, because they're not showing up for free, they're not volunteers, they're wasting company resources, and they're wasting their resources. They're wasting your money, their time, and their energy, which could have been focused on adding more value to your company. The fastest way to scale your company after you have proven your deliverables, after you have a proven process, is to increase your client acquisition. My 3 favorite client acquisition strategies are advertising. I want to pay for traffic and pay to play. Number 2, referrals. Talk to your existing customers and incentivize them. Give them some kind of revenue share or store credit or company credit. And number 3, organic content marketing. If you can focus on those 3 client acquisition channels, your business is going to inevitably scale. 2 books that I require all leaders in my organization to read are, number 1, Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. I love that book because it teaches our leaders how to communicate up, down, and laterally the chain of command. And number 2 is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by our good friend, Dr. Stephen Covey. Once they understand the material in both of those books, and I make them read it probably about 7 to 10 times over the course of a year, every single year, it allows them to think like a true leader that adds more value to your organization. Spoiler alert, your employees will not do extra training 99% of the time outside of work. If you require your employees to take courses or read books outside of their required work hours, they're probably not going to do it. They're probably going to let you down, and they're for sure going to have excuses about it. So how do you solve this? Easy. Require it. Say, hey, if you want to stay working here, I need you to do this. I need you to do this on this time, and then reward them for it. Require it and reward them for it. Once you complete this, then we're going to give you X opportunities, X raise, X promotion, whatever that may be. The worst state to hire employees from in America is California. Why? Because they have insanely favorable labor laws. Number two, they have more taxes and expenses on the employers. And number three, California people sue the most out of all states. They're so sensitive. They show up to work high. You fire them for being high. They say, nah, man, that's my glaucoma. That's a medical condition. And you got to go through that kind of stuff. You're ready to scale your company, you ought to look at hiring people from the global marketplace where you get better value for your dollar and, of course, better employees. Entrepreneurs who are scaling their companies always have this excuse, and it is a myth. If you are scaling a company and you don't have business documentation, so protocols, SOPs, standard operating procedures, a lot of companies and entrepreneurs trick themselves that they can't scale their company until they have this. And then they can't have this until they scale their company. But a really quick solution to this is just hire somebody who specializes in business documentation. If you have a car, do you change your oil or do you take it to the oil change man? You probably take it to the oil change man. Even if you know how to change your oil, it takes time and you don't have time for all that. So why not do the same thing for your business and take your business to get business documentation on its behalf? Here's how to staff your business 24 hours, 7 days a week around the clock. You need 3 teams. Your first team is on North America or South America, or maybe the Caribbean. The second team is going to be in Europe and Africa, and the third team is going to be in Asia. So guess what? Morning time in North America is evening time in Asia. Evening time in Asia is morning time in America. You just flip them, you just rotate them. This is what all of the Fortune 5,000 companies do. So if you're ready to scale your business, send me a direct message and I can get you set up with that. If you have a remote team and you're not monitoring them, these are the 4 things that they're doing on your dime. Number 4, they're buying movie tickets. Number 3, they're on Amazon. Number 2, they're watching pornography. And number 1, they are playing video games on your dime. For any new initiative or goal in your company, your job as a visionary entrepreneur is to make it a concise 2 to 5 word sentence so your team can understand. If you go on a 30 minutes announcement about how you're going to do X, Y, and Z, people are going to forget. But if you make a very concise announcement stating that our goal is to get more sales or to please our customers or to have new client acquisition systems, that's going to be easily digestible by everybody on your team, not like 2 or 3 people who actually care. Public service announcement. Entrepreneurs, there's some people on your team that just want to be role players. They don't want leadership. They don't want to go to the next level. They just want a paycheck. They want an easy job. They want low stress. I know sometimes for entrepreneurs like you and I, we feel like everybody should be like us and strive for success. But you know what? A lot of people just want a job and they want to watch Netflix on the weekend, and that's okay. Your job as an entrepreneur is to identify everybody's goals on your team and then leverage their superpowers to the maximum capacity for your organization. Before you start advertising for new clients for your business, ask yourself this: if I got 1,000 new customers tomorrow, could I take care of them? Could I deliver quality service like I'm doing to my current clients? If not, you may want to add more people to your team to increase your operational capacity. Because if you add new business to your current team and they can't handle it, guess what? The quality is going to drop. If the quality drops, you're going to get bad reviews and a bad reputation. And that's very hard to come back from. It's not impossible, but it's very hard. Here's why your business should not work with VAs or virtual assistants. Number one, they're not qualified. They took a course, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe they watch some YouTube. Yeah, they can click this and type that, but you know what? They add very little strategic value to your organization. They have very little professional experience most of the time in your industry. And they also are working with other clients. You're not their only client. They're not an employee, they're a freelancer. And so their focus is divided amongst multiple people. So who would you rather have, a dedicated employee or someone who's kind of sort of helping out here and there? If you have a legitimate business with customers, clients, and you're busy, you probably should not work with a virtual assistant. If you're a startup, side hustle, solopreneur, a virtual assistant might be a good addition to your team for now, but it's not going to get you to the next level. The number one scam that virtual assistants pull when you hire them from overseas markets is there's always that one person in the neighborhood that speaks English well, and their job is client acquisition. They go out on all the platforms and they're like, hey, yeah, I speak English. Oh yeah, and you've never been to the country, you don't know anybody there, but you trust this person because they speak English and they have a decent accent and you can understand them. And they sit there and they say, yeah, yes, yeah, they don't tell you no. Why do they do that? Because they just want to get work from you, and guess what? They're smart. They take that work and then they farm it out to everybody in the neighborhood. They say, hoo-doo, I got one. I got a gringo. I got an expat. I got one of them rich Americans, and they just farm out the work. And they come meet with you 15 minutes a week, and they're like, yeah, yes sir, yes ma'am, anything you say. And they don't tell you no. This is the number one scam that is pulled by virtual assistants on the international market. I had a client who had one of their employees fake hours. They were stealing company money by saying they were working when they really were not. So we caught them, and here's what we did. Number one, we fined them for all the time that they were not working. We took that off of their paycheck. So we docked their pay, and then we publicly posted that in front of everybody and said, hey, employee XYZ was doing 1, 2, 3. Here's the screenshots. Here's the proof, and here's how much we docked their pay. Number two, after that, we took that same amount and we matched it to our favorite charity, and we said, we're not trying to save a buck here, we're trying to enforce standards. So that's a quick tip for you. If you have people that are stealing from you, and if someone's faking hours on you, they're stealing from you. Don't get it twisted. Here's a hack to stop meetings that never end. Use a timer. Have somebody designated be the timer and designate a certain amount of time for each meeting. Okay, we have 2 minutes for new business. We have 3 minutes for old business. We have 5 minutes for discussion of this proposal. Once the time's up, then you table that conversation to email, chat, or maybe you guys will talk about it on the next meeting. Once you start adding a timer to your meetings, you're going to tell everybody, hey, you need to come prepared. And then notice who comes prepared. If someone's always slacking or struggling to communicate on a meeting, that person probably shouldn't be in your company, for at least at the leadership level or any kind of management level. That's for dang sure. The best question that I ask anybody on any interview is always the final question, which is, why should we not hire you? Everyone's going to say, oh, well, you shouldn't hire me if you want to be successful because blah, 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 and this and that, or just some kind of bullshit answer. So your job is to give them an example. I would say, okay, I can appreciate that. For me, I would say, you shouldn't hire me if you don't want to increase the standards of your organization. You shouldn't hire me if you need to be micromanaged, because I don't like to work with people that require to be micromanaged. I like to work with professional adults who handle their business, who take full responsibility. Those are the reasons why you should not hire me. And that will give them permission to tell you why you should not hire them. That's a very powerful question to know before you ever start investing money, time, and energy into a new hire. There's 2 types of recruiting. Number one is active recruiting. This is when you put a job post up and everybody who's unemployed or who sucks at their job or is looking for another opportunity and wants to jump ship, they come hollering at you. The second type of recruiting is passive recruiting. These are people who are chill. They ain't got no rush. They ain't got no stress. They're already successful at their job. They're doing very well at their job. They're not looking. Now, if you want to get the best people for your organization, I encourage you to go after passive applicants. These are people who already have a job. The best way to do that is to hire a professional recruiter to do that on your behalf. This is known as headhunting. You're going to get a higher quality candidate who's not out looking for 20 different companies. Have you ever hired somebody actively from a job post? You make them an offer and they're like, oh, sorry, I took another offer. Well, that was a waste of your time. So this is a way to increase the quality of your candidate and increase the quality of your success. Here's a powerful question to ask yourself. How strong is your business model? Think about that. How strong is your business model? A follow-up question to that is, would Warren Buffett buy your business? Why or why not? My name is Frank Salas. I go by the name The Talented Mr. Salas. If you're ready to scale your company, follow me for more.